watch
How?
this?
How?
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 Ew,
How do you watch this?
Dude, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Hi, you're listening to How Do You Watch This, a movie review podcast where each week we recommend a movie in the genre we love, but they don't. My name is Megan and I love romance.
My name is Demi and I love horror.
And this week I recommended for Demi the Jennifer Aniston, Jason Bateman movie, The Switch.
I kept wanting to call him Patrick Bateman. I'm like, why am I thinking that? It's
Because
like,
of Patrick Wilson.
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mhm.
I love him so much. So
Which one?
I'm very
Patrick?
excited.
Patrick?
Both.
Or,
Both.
yeah,
It was a
gonna
happy
say,
surprise
yeah.
to see Patrick in this.
I
I had no
know.
idea he was in this. So
Really? Yeah.
I definitely never saw this movie before. I know
Okay.
last time I was saying that I might have, but I definitely, this is
Okay.
first time watch. So
Yeah, there's a lot with it. I learned that it's apparently based very loosely off of a short story called The Baster.
okay.
And it's about an unattractive man who falls in love with a really beautiful woman. It was written in like the 90s. And the author of it was not involved with the production of the movie at all. He was like, that's too Hollywood.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What happens in the story? The ugly man intentionally?
I think so. I think they use an actual turkey baster, and that's why the baster like comes up so much in the movie because they're like wink wink nudge nudge. I don't really know for sure like what happens in the short story because I didn't bother reading it. When they said it was loosely, I was like, I'm not gonna care. Yeah.
Not my thing.
Nah.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like that.
No. Also,
the movie is what I wasn't sure what to expect the movie, but I did enjoy it more than I thought I would. So
yeah, it's a little less creepy in execution. Than it is in storytelling.
Reading the plot, I'm like, and then watching, I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, it's a shitty situation, but it's not creepy like I thought it was gonna. Be creepy.
And not predatory.
Yes, no jail time.
Yeah.
So the movie is The Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And the thread, I think, is both movies feature kids with hypochondria.
Yes, you got it.
Wonderful. What a good thread.
Thank you. Once Eddie popped up, I was like, yeah.
Perfect. I love it.
I literally, the scene where the little boy, where like Jason Bateman's talking to the little boy and he's like, that's like, oh, I've had my bouts of hypochondria. And then the boy's like, I think I have that.
Yeah, I think I have that.
I think about that all the time.
So cute, little Sebastian.
No.
So the year, it was released 2010.
Mm-hmm.
It is a PG-13 movie, an hour and 41 minutes, and it is a rom-com.
Yep.
Directors Will Speck and Josh Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
So, doubles. Okay.
Doubles. Double team.
My shitty notes. Okay. So the movie starts and we hear Wally, and who's played by Jason Bateman, and he is narrating, and you see a 7 years ago title.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just talking about people and the human race and living life and how some people just sit by, let things happen, and shitty romances, which is just his situation.
Yeah.
So Wally is meeting his friend Cassie, who's played by Jennifer Aniston, for lunch, and they have been friends for a long time. They actually dated before, and things happen, kind of put each other in the friend zone, it seems like. Basically, Wally is very...
Neurotic is the word that gets used regularly in the movie.
Neurotic.
Yeah.
And very much just like runs away when things get too real. So that was the biggest issue, I think, with them really having a relationship. And they meet for lunch. She tells him that she is planning on having a baby through artificial insemination. Mm-hmm. She thinks she's like getting too old and talking about like how fertility drops at a certain age, blah, blah, blah. Wally's is surprised and does not like this idea at all. And I'm like, let her live.
Right.
I was like really annoyed with him the first part of this movie.
Yeah.
And it is because he's still in love with her and he just won't admit it, which is annoying, honestly.
So annoying. Men, get in touch with your emotions.
For real. Cassie deserves better than that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He gives his thoughts, but she's very much like, I want this to happen. I want a child.
Mm-hmm.
Yada, yada, yada. So then the next scene, they're at a 30th birthday party for Cassie's friend named Debbie, who's played by Juliette Lewis. And Wally is just continuously being negative. He's just constantly negative. Cassie's excited. She's like, I just want to make sure I pick someone good. And she wants to meet someone. She wants to meet the person that's going to donate. She doesn't want it to be just a rando.
Yeah.
She wants to talk to them and like know them before, deciding. And he's like, well, what if you fall in love and meet someone and it'll be too late, which is a stupid argument.
Right.
And he's just not listening to Cassie at all. So they have this big fight after the party and split off. And it's about like a week or so. We meet Leonard, who is played by Jeff Goldblum.
Oh my God.
She's so many people in this. I was like, oh my gosh, this is fun.
A lot of big names.
Yeah. And Leonard is Wally's boss. And he's someone that talks a lot to Wally about relationships and all that. So he knows Wally cares about Cassie and just won't want to admit it. But he kind of just hangs back and just let Wally suffer in silence, I guess. So a week goes by and Wally gets an invite in the mail. And it's a I'm getting pregnant party invite. And so the party is like decorated with a bunch of like sperm and stuff. And it's just like
fertility
a silly little
things.
Yeah. And it was Debbie's idea. And she, like you said, makes a joke about Cassie going into the room with a turkey baster, just shooting it up. Yeah. Just not what happens. And Wally ends up meeting the donor. And the donor is Patrick Wilson. So I was like, oh my God, Mambu.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? And his name is Roland. And he's just like a sweet guy. He's just like, my wife and I need the money, all this stuff. And Wally's a little surprised. And Wally's also drinking really hard liquor. You're about to say. Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't know what Debbie gives him. Do you know?
No, I think it has to be some sort of like weed edible thing, like some sort of thing. Because she says it's herbal, but it might as well be pharmaceutical. So it's got to be something intense.
It looked prescribed.
Yeah.
But it has to be some sort of like weed, like edible type of thing.
Something druggy because he got messed up. Like, I don't know, maybe it was ketamine or something. I don't know. Is ketamine herbal? I don't think so. I know nothing about drugs.
Whatever he took, plus hard liquor, it just really, really messed him up. Before he gets too screwed up, he does find Cassie in her room. She's kind of secluding herself a little bit from the party. She's kind of freaking out a bit. And he talks to her and he does say, things are going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. And she feels a lot better about it. So, he's a good guy. He's just jealous. He wanted admit this would have been the perfect time to say something, but no, Wally.
Yep. God forbid you own up to your feelings.
Yep. So then Roland does the deed in the bathroom, whatever. And at this point, the party's popping and Wally needs to go to the bathroom. The one bathroom he goes to is taken. So he ends up in the bathroom where Roland did his thing. And the cup is on the shelf. And it's like sealed and stuff. It's not like
it's not on display. No, but it's right there on like a warming station or something.
Yes, like, oh my God. So Wally is, of course, fucked up. And he sees the cup and he's fucking around with it. He's just like pretending to pour in the sink. He's like, haha. And someone knocks and he drops the freaking cup in the sink. And I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Yep.
So then he's like, fuck, what do I do? And then he is like, he doesn't say anything. He's just thinking it. And he decides he's just going to refill the cup and does so by there's magazines in the bathroom and there's one with Diane Sawyer on the cover. And he's like, this will work. This will work.
And by the way, she approved. She like gave the okay for that. She was like, sure.
Of course she would. Yeah, of course she would. So, Wally.
Dude.
Next day, he's at work. He feels like shit. He doesn't remember anything. And Leonard, his boss, comes in and he makes a joke like, you're fired. You showed up to my house at 3 a.m. talking crazy stuff, saying something about Diane Sawyer and
a Viking.
Switch up. And Wally's like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't remember anything. So he's truly just like, doesn't remember anything that happened. So then some time passes. He is with Cassie at a show for Hamlet. And the actor for Hamlet's butt naked. Is that a thing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Well, isn't Hamlet like naked in one scene? Or no?
Is he? Dude, I'm going to look it up because I don't remember. It's on the production, but there have been notable production where actors have performed in the nude.
What, fully the whole time?
Okay. I don't know. That it was like a gimmick plan, but the original, it does not contain nudity.
Okay.
But there are adaptations and productions that chose to portray characters or actors in the nude as part of their artistic vision, according to AI.
What the fuck?
So, I don't know.
With Shakespeare, he'd probably approve of that. He'd probably be like, damn, I didn't think of that first.
Yeah, he'd be like, that's such a good idea.
Just have the skull like covering his crotch.
Hey, look, man, no hands.
So very awkward showing.
Yeah.
They're walking out and Cassie tells Wally that she is pregnant.
Yeah.
So that's great for Cassie. It worked out. Wally still has no idea that he's switched anything. He's just like, oh, that's great, And she ends up going back home to Minnesota. They're in New York, by the way. She goes back home to Minnesota because, to be close to her mom and family there and wants to raise the baby in a better area. She ends up buying Wally a dog.
Yeah, it's quite the gift.
Very cute, very cute. Cassie's just a very cute person. Too good for Wally. No, I love Wally too, but he's just a pain in the ass. He really is.
Yeah. On a couple levels, yeah.
Yeah, a couple levels. So then it's years later, 7 years, right?
Yep.
Okay. Wally gets a call from Cassie. It's a missed call, but basically she's saying, I'm moving back to New York. I got a great job. I'm bringing Sebastian. I want you guys to meet, all this stuff. She's very excited. So they end up talking on the phone a little bit. And she's like, oh, let's meet for dinner. You should bring Sebastian a gift. He collects picture frames. He doesn't put photos in them. Already, it's like, okay.
Yep, little weirdo.
Interesting.
Little weirdo.
So then they meet back up. They look exactly the same 7 years later.
Yeah, so they did decide not to do any aging or de-aging in the things, and they just try to do context clues and like behavioral patterns to show it, and I think that's definitely preferable because I hate when they like do a bad job of the aging and it was 2010 when it came out, so I think it could have been done. It could have been done, but probably not super great.
7 years isn't a lot. If it was like 15 years difference, okay, maybe. But 7 years is fine. That's just making fun.
Right.
So then we meet Sebastian. Cassie points him out by the fish tank. And at first there's this like tall blonde boy there. And Wally's like, oh, yeah, that's him. And then he moves and then you see actual Sebastian. And he's this little like brown haured, awkward child.
With the biggest freaking eyes you've ever seen.
Huge eyes. Yes.
Yeah.
He's, autistic. Most likely. He's very intelligent. He's just he's just saying things that kids his age would not be talking about.
Yeah. He's very, very intelligent, very aware. And honestly, there's certain things that he talked about that I was like, I feel like this is going to be urine breath's kid because everything with like the animal rights and whatever. I'm like,
oh my God, girl, I was dying. I was like, oh man, would end up with a kid like that, smarter than me. So then Wally gives Sebastian a picture frame, and Sebastian's like, "Where's the photo that comes with it? This is used immediately." I'm like, oh my God, and so he knew that was fake. Wally's like, fuck this kid.
Right.
He ordered a cooked duck.
Yeah.
And Sebastian's like, I can't eat this. You know what they do to ducks. And so he's just like very into animal rights. And he's like, I'll just eat rice. I'll have the rice. And Cassie's just very supportive and is like, oh, like he's just a little quirky. Everything's you know, he's just different. He's just like that. And she supports him, which is great. So Wally did this thing earlier in the movie where he makes this like moaning noises when he eats, and Sebastian starts doing the same thing, and Wally's just like, oh, that's weird, interesting. So
also at the beginning of the movie, just like there's little things with Jason Bateman's character where Wally sent Cassie a picture of like his scrotum because he thought he had a growth on it and like things like that. Like he is a very fearful of certain things, a worrier. Can't relate to that at all. I've never done anything like that. It's wild.
So Cassie brings up to Wally that she wants him and Sebastian get to know each other and is hoping that he would watch Sebastian hang out with him while she goes to a open house at the school. And Wally at first is like, oh no, I don't know, this kid's fucking weird. But you know, he'll do whatever for Cassie. And then they go to an aquarium. This is the point where they talk about hypochondria. And I was like, oh, that's the red. That's it. And it's cute. They're like standing the same way. And Wally's just like, what the hell? And,
so cute.
And then at one point, they're talking about like bullies because Wally can tell that Sebastian is a bully. And he says, you have to act crazy. And no one messes with the crazy guy. So giving him New York advice.
Right. Yeah, it is New York advice. That is for sure.
So then after all this, Wally calls his boss, Leonard. He's like, what exactly happened that night? Feeling weird things. I don't know. Like this, it's just a weird situation. Because also the kid doesn't look like Roland. Like Roland is blonde and he has just different features. Whereas Wally has the dark hair and the big eyes. Like he just looks like the kid. So he goes over to Leonard's house, and Leonard's like, yeah, you brought up something with Switch and Diana Sawyer, like, and they kind of pieced together that something happened, and that Wally swapped the sperm. But he doesn't remember, like, that he accidentally spilled it and swapped it. So I feel like that's a worse situation, because then if I'm thinking, like, oh my God, if I intentionally did this, I feel freaking awful. And Wally does feel awful. He's like, this is horror. I have to tell Cassie immediately. This is awful. This is like the worst thing I could have done. And I definitely would have been feeling the same way. Like, oh my God, I'm a horrible person. I deserve jail.
Yeah. I can't even imagine coming to that realization.
No. Oh my God. So he goes over to Cassie's apartment to try and confess what happened. And so they go outside, and the way he's saying it, he's like, I should have said this, you know, like, this is really difficult for me to say, all this stuff. And Cassie's thinking that he's confessing his feelings. And she interrupts him. She's like, I know what you're gonna say, like, you know, since I've come back, there's been these like feelings and stuff. And Wally's immediately like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? And she's like, well, what do you, like, you were gonna confess? And he's like, no, I was not gonna confess. So then Cassie's embarrassed, but then Wally doesn't go back to the conversation. He's just focused on the idea that Cassie could have feelings for him as well. And I'm just like, ugh, Wally.
I can't. I hate when this happens.
Miscommunication is fucking worst.
It's the worst trope.
So also, while this was going, before this happened, Cassie has met up with Roland again. And Roland is now divorced. His ex cheated on him, and he is happy to get to know Sebastian because Cassie wants, I don't know, I'm like forgetting the names in this, like,
honestly, I know, I keep wanting to just call them by their acting their real life names,
the real names. So Cassie, you know, wants Roland to know Sebastian if Sebastian has questions about who his dad is and stuff, and Roland's totally on board with that. So then after this conversation with Wally and Cassie, Wally finds out that Cassie and Roland are kind of dating now. And it's like, oh, crazy. And Roland's not that guy. He's just like, he's like a very chipper guy, always happy, just very interesting type of person. Very opposite of Wally.
Yes. Yeah. He's like light and happy. And he also, this comes up later, and you're probably going to bring it up later, but his marriage only ended 3 months previously. So it is a fresh wound.
Sebastian has a birthday party coming up, and he invites Wally. He's really liking Wally. He's just bonding with him, probably because they're the same person.
Yeah.
Literally blood related, and they're just the same type of person.
I know.
And so Wally goes to the birthday, and it's at a wall climbing place, which for me, I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think Sebastian would be into that.
No.
He's not.
It's not his vibe at all.
It was Roland's idea. Roland is there, and he had the idea of having it a rock climbing place, a wall climbing place, and Cassie was saying that Sebastian really wanted to have it at a kill shelter in hopes that people would adopt, which is really sweet.
So sweet.
But like so depressing to think
real
about.
real bummer of a party. Dude, I also like I can't believe that this mom though couldn't find some in between wall climbing and the kill shelter, because you know your kid. Come on.
It is weird that she just fully accepted this suggestion by Roland instead of being like, no, Sebastian wants this, or saying like, hey, Sebastian, maybe we can do this and you know, have something else with the shelter, you know, bring pamphlets of pups that are gonna fucking die. But yeah, it was just completely at this place, and you see Roland trying to help Sebastian put the straps on to climb, and Sebastian's like, I don't want to do this, I really don't want to do it, and he is up climbing and is stuck and scared, doesn't want to come down. Roland goes to help him out, and Sebastian's like, don't touch me, don't touch me, I hate you. He just hates Roland, which is fair. Like, Roland's not listening to him, so why would he like him? And he runs to Cassie and hugs her. Sebastian does, and then Sebastian reaches out to Wally's hands, and he's just very comfortable with Wally. Yeah. So then Roland invites Wally out to drinks afterwards to talk, and Roland says that things are moving really quickly with Cassie. He wants to take her on a trip to Michigan, but he's like worried about Sebastian. He's like, Sebastian hates me. And Wally's like, no, I don't think so. He's like, no, he's told me a couple times he hates me. And he makes a point to say like, oh, he's a lot like you, like neurotic. He's very similar to you. And, you know, like I said, Roland's not a bad guy. He's just not understanding. He's really trying to push this. To be fair, like, you know, Sebastian's not his. If he was his kid, he'd probably be more like Roland, you know, more athletic, maybe. But yeah, he's just not listening to Sebastian at all. But
even still, like, you know, even there are plenty of parents who have kids who are very different from them.
Right.
And he's being thrown in this situation where Cassie is letting him come in at like full dad mode, which is crazy because he's never been in a kid's life before.
Right. And I do think Cassie could have talked to him more about like Sebastian, what he's like, and, you know, how to go about doing stuff
supporting
with
him and whatever.
You know, I feel like it is very quick, and, you know, just Roland's not like picking up the vibes. Right. So Cassie and Roland are away in Michigan at a cabin. Cassie ends up calling Wally because Sebastian is at a friend's house and has lice. So he needs to be picked up, and Cassie can't fly back home that night. So she tells Wally everything he has to do to help with the lice situation. So he has to buy all these things. He has to bathe Sebastian, like wash his hair. He has to take all the clothes. So he's doing everything to the T, which is really cute. And
have you ever had lice?
No.
You
surprisingly.
Haven't?
No.
God, dude, it would have been a nightmare with your hair.
They would have had to shave my head.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. We had a situation at my house when I was younger.
Oh no.
And we believe, I don't know. It's one of those things where like everyone points fingers at everyone else, but it's thought that it might have been the neighbors.
Call them out.
Yeah, sorry, my neighbors are listening to this. Like, what the hell, man? Texting my mom.
Yeah. Yo, fuck you.
The thought is that that's what happened, and then like everyone got it because it's very easily spread, and it was it was not a one and done treatment thing. My mom had to do it multiple times. It took a while to get rid of them, and it was genuinely, to this day, I still have like problems where I get really anxious about my scalp and like itchiness and stuff because it is disgusting. It is the most foul experience to have someone comb through your hair and pull out these nits. Oh my God. To know that these bugs are on your head.
I know. That's the worst part, knowing like it's just there's bugs in your hair. Oh my God. I don't think I could recover. I'll be honest. If I ever had it.
No, it's really hard. And I had this time like last year. I freaked out because there was a bug in my hair when I was outside gardening. And I was like, oh my God, I'm lice again. No. It was literally just like a bug had fallen from a tree onto my hair. But I did all of the identification apps, whatever. I was freaking out because it is literally no joke.
Yeah. No. It's a whole freaking process in this movie. Yeah. Like, I don't know too much about it. I just knew that you had to pretty much wash your hair with a special shampoo or just freaking shave your head.
Yeah, and then you have to, luckily, they're better than bed bugs because they suffocate after 24 hours, whereas bed bugs, it's a year. They can live for a year.
Oh, my God.
But lice, that's why you, like, bag everything up, like your pillows, all that stuff. You put it in bags, airtight, put it in a different room, and you, like, let them die that way. And then you have to do the special shampoo, and you comb it all out. And if you're lucky and you have thin hair, and it's easy to get, you can get them all. But my family was blessed with the luscious locks. And so we had multiple treatments we had to do. And just imagine my mother with 3 young daughters and a son.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All their hairs. And her own and my dad's. It was rough.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Just lit the house on fire.
I know. I'm surprised my mom didn't. My mom is like a real one for not shaving her heads because... Seriously, like I think I would have. I think if it was my child, I'd be like, "Do you really like your hair?" Because
if I had 4 kids to do that to, everyone would have it. I'll shave my head too. All of us.
Boycott. I mean, at least chop it.
At least, boycott. You know, pixie just to help. Oh God, it's awful.
Anyway, so he does a great job of managing it.
He does. And so then Cassie comes home and she said the weekend went really well. And they're talking about moving in together, like Roland and Cassie. And Wally's like, that's a mistake. You shouldn't do that. And he brings up how Roland was recently divorced and stuff. And so Cassie didn't know that. But then she's like, you know, I'm trying to move on with my life. I'm trying to be happy. And you're stuck in the same place. Like, sorry, that's your life. And, you know, that's fair. She is trying to do more and move on with her life, but also, like, you know, it is moving quick.
It is quick, and you have a baby, and you want to make sure that everything.
Yeah, and
if he doesn't like him,
right? If Sebastian's telling me like, "Oh, I hate him," I'd be like, "Okay, well, why do you hate him?" And if it's something that I can't solve, I'd be like, "All right, well, sorry, Roland. Like, it's not gonna work out. My kid doesn't fucking like you."
Right? So. Exactly. I mean, he's a cool guy, but he's not the greatest ever. I mean, I don't know. We don't get to see this like spark between her and him.
Right. It just seems like, I don't know. They're just both hot together.
Yeah.
There's not really chemistry there. So.
It's almost like they just feel like that's what they should do. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Cassie definitely still has feelings for Wally, but because he hasn't said anything, she doesn't say anything. And I think she is just trying to move on from Wally. And it's just more like, well, Roland's the dad, technically, of my kids. So this works out. Time passes after their little fight. Sebastian shows up at Wally's apartment or house, bruised up. And I'm like, first of all, where did he find...
I know.
How do you know where Wally lived?
How did he get there? Does that boy have money or something? I can't.
It was a few blocks.
20.
Oh my God.
20 blocks.
Wally's like, what the hell are you doing here? Why are you beat up? And Sebastian says, I try to act crazy, like you said. And he punched me anyway. I got beat up. And this poor little baby.
I know.
So Wally feels awful, obviously, and brings Sebastian to Cassie's apartment. And, you know, he's like, it's my fault. It's on me.
Yeah.
But then Cassie's like in the middle of like a party with Roland's family. So it's like a weird situation.
Yes.
I feel like she wasn't as worried as I would have been.
No, I would have been.
That like, not only was
that
my child beat up.
Yes.
But he walked to Wally's house like by himself, like I would have been freaking out.
I would have lost my mind. She was being way too calm. Way too calm.
It was just like a weird scene. I was like, what the hell is like going on? Cassie, what are you doing? So they go inside to this party. Sebastian's getting cleaned up by Cassie and her friend Debbie. Roland is like, yo, Wally, check out this ring I got. And it's like, oh my God, Roland. Roland. And so Wally's like, I have to tell Cassie the truth. Like, this is... Yeah. Should have said it a bit. You had time, Wally.
Yeah.
But he was very much, he was growing close to Sebastian. And this is very bad. Like, to tell Cassie that you swapped, without knowing why, you swapped the sperm. And that's, like, really, really bad. Right. So, of course... They're in the middle of Roland's proposal. He's talking.
I hate
his family's
this shit.
there. Wally
I get
interrupts.
Such embarrassment.
God. It was just awful. I hated the scene.
Yeah.
Deleted scene. So Wally opens up, tells Cassie that he swapped the sperm. Sebastian is his child, and he loves her. And then Cassie slaps him in the face. And is like, never speak to us again.
Yeah.
Fair reaction. You know?
Not alarming to do.
Fair reaction. So more time passes. I'm not sure how much time. And Wally's walking out of his office building. He sees Cassie there. And she says, Sebastian misses you. And you can see him, but on her terms. He is the father. And she tells him that she also couldn't go through with Roland because, he isn't Wally. So... That comes out, and then Wally asks if she would marry him, and she's like, yeah, probably. So then the movie ends with Sebastian's birthday, and they're all happy together, and this scene made me laugh so hard. On the cake is a dog named Doug. Doug is a 3-legged dog who needs a home. He's also next in line at the kill shelter. And then Sebastian's like, I'm not blowing out the candles till someone takes him. So then Debbie is like, sure, I'll take him. He's only got 3 legs. I can handle that. And that is the end of the movie.
So good. Yeah, that was a great ending.
I know, dude. When they were like, and he is next in line at the kill shelter. I was like, oh my God.
It's so dark.
So dark. But you know what? Hey, not a bad idea.
No.
Get those babies adopted.
Yeah.
So
I know.
But oh my gosh, this movie.
Yeah.
So my most memorable scene was the sperm being switched up, obviously.
Yeah.
For main character, smash. Both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Side character, Roland. Yeah.
Yeah. Smash. For sure.
Robbie.
Yeah. It's a very smashable cast.
Yeah, very, very, very much so. Fall in Love, I was not sure.
Yeah.
I had to put in between. I put 5 because I'm like, it's a very messy situation. I don't know if I would have... I think I would have eventually forgiven Wally, but it would have been really difficult. But, it does work out because she did love him and he loves her. Sebastian loves Wally. Like, it does work out well, but it is just a difficult situation, especially not knowing the full truth,
That's the thing. I do wish they had resolved that better.
Yeah.
In the movie, or had it feel more closure-esque.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
To have them like connect more, or to build up that rapport between them as well would have been nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it is what it is. Recommend. I said no. I like, I did enjoy the movie, but there wasn't a lot of comedy, and it was like fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
But
fair.
If you want to give facts or your review.
Okay. First of all, I've seen this movie several times.
Okay.
The last time was in college, I think. I think it might have been the last time was in college, or one of the last times. Probably not the last time. I probably watched it since then. But when I was in college, I was living with my roommate, and she was a psych major. And she like walks in when I'm watching it, and I'm just like doing my arts and crafts with it in the background because like it's just like a fun thing. And she started psychoanalyzing like all the characters and being like talking about how messed up it was, whatever, blah blah blah. And I was just like, it's a rom-com. Can you leave? You're really killing my vibe right now. However, as an adult now, I can see why someone would probably be like, yeah, that's alarming. But
yeah, like I said, watching it, I was like, it's really not as alarming as I thought it was going to be. You know, it just was like a shitty situation.
Yeah.
And
it
what
was,
it was.
Exactly. It was.
He wasn't intentional at all. He just.
It could have been creepy, and they didn't make it creepy.
Yeah,
which I feel like the short story was probably creepy. I don't know. With a name like the Baster.
Yeah, it sounds creepy. Yeah. I don't like that at all.
No. And apparently the movie was originally supposed to be called The Baster, and Jennifer Aniston was like not thrilled that it got switched. And I'm like, dude, The Baster is a terrible name.
Yeah.
It sounds like a horror movie. That is not.
Yeah, it does. And it's not even like, that's not how.
It's not even how it happens. No.
Right.
No. And there is, I guess they do give another reference at one point where there's like a truck that drives. Yeah, you saw it.
Yeah. And I was like, was that intentional?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I think that I would give this movie, because it's just like, for me, it's just like an enjoyable, easy watch. And I've watched it a few times now. Probably the rating is a little bit more leaning on nostalgia, but I would go with a 4. Yeah. I don't think it was like amazing. I don't think it's, it's not something that I would go out of my way to tell people to watch, but it is a fun watch. It's something that I would put on in the background again. Yeah. And it's a fun movie to watch.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good characters, actors. I think Jason Bateman is just like a really, I don't know, fun actor to watch in movies and shows. He just has this charisma about him. And so I enjoy watching him. And so I gave it a 3.7.
Okay.
Thought it was solid. I enjoyed it. I wish it was like more comedy, but I liked the characters. I liked the kid actor. I thought he was really cute.
Love him. He's such a little nugget.
Yeah. And it turned out well in the end. So
I think
good stuff. Yeah.
It was made on a very modest budget of about 19 million. I guess that's modest. I don't know. That's what this. But it did earn about 50 million. So it more than doubled its cost. But this movie did earn Jennifer Aniston a Razzie nomination.
Really?
Yes, for Worst Actress. I don't know. A lot of people criticize the movie's tone, but I personally don't think her acting was bad. Like,
no,
I don't know. I was definitely surprised by that.
No, I don't think she was a bad actress in this, She's just Jennifer Aniston, I guess.
One of the things that was praised about this movie that I saw was one critic said that they really liked the way that this was kind of a rom-com for a guy's perspective, because usually with a rom-com, you get the main character as a woman, and this was a rom-com with the main character being Wally.
That's true.
So I thought that was interesting as well.
I like that, yeah.
I always really loved the little boy in this one. I always thought he was just such a little cutie pie. And I obviously relate to him very much because he is a worrier. And hello, me too. Although I have yet to force anyone to adopt a dog at a birthday party. That could be coming. You never know.
I'm about to start doing that.
I know. It's a good idea. Yeah. Travis, honestly, is almost every day now where he sends me an adoptable dog. And I'm like, we have enough dogs. It's crazy. But if I could, I would live on an island of dogs,
That's wild. Yeah. I can't. I love dogs, but oh my God, that shit would kill me.
No, gosh, they're so cute. I could for sure. I could. Yeah, no problem. I don't know that there's anything left to really say about it. There's not a lot of crazy fun facts or anything like that. It's pretty basic of a film.
Yeah. Straightforward. Fun little rom-com.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like a nice palate cleanser from some of the more serious stuff.
I agree. I agree. Easy watch.
Yeah. And my next one for you is also an easy watch because I get to pick the the romance first. I went with another light-hearted one because I'm not in a very deep mood right now.
Cool.
But maybe next time.
No, I like the light.
I know the light's nice. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice, Demi? Don't you like nice light watches? Maybe we should do that more with horror.
Well, I could have, but because I had to pick the thread, I'm more restricted. So
no.
So your movie is the Amityville Horror.
No.
It is a older movie, and I've seen it once-ish. Like, I remember seeing it a long time ago, and then I've kind of seen clips here and there from there. But it's about the Amityville house, if you know anything about it, which I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I think I've told you this. I might have even said it on the podcast before, but the first time I ever learned about the Amityville was when I was listening to a podcast that Demi had recommended to me called And That's Why We Drink. Great podcast. And I was dog sitting at a house, and I was in their basement listening to this, and I've never been so scared because I'm like in a strange, it wasn't even that strange of a house. Like I'm familiar with their house, but I'm like not in my home. I was freaking out.
There's just something about basements too.
Basements are the worst, man.
Yeah. So yeah, this movie is like I said, it's been a while. I'm going to say a loose adaptation of what happened, if you believe anything really happened.
Right.
But this family, they buy a new house in Amityville, New York. They move in. Everything's going well. The house was cheap. They were like, why is it so cheap? This house is beautiful. Basically, the history is that the former resident murdered his family and was supposedly possessed by the devil, making the house haunted. So now his new family has to deal with a haunted house. So that is the plot, and it is available on Tubi, Pluto TV.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Great. Can't wait to watch it, Dem.
I'm so excited for you. I haven't seen this one in a while, so I'm looking forward to a rewatch. It's probably gonna be fucking ass.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
It's a 2005 movie.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being really scary. It's probably gonna have like the really bad like effects where it's like flashing and you're like,
oh god,
stop.
I'm just waiting for like the pig in the window or whatever it is, like the pig faced demon in the window. I don't know. That's what freaks me out the most of the podcast.
Oh God, I don't remember.
I guess they look up into the window of the house and they see like this demon that looks like a pig face or something. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
we'll see if that's in this movie. I forget. I remember like two things in this movie.
Is Patrick Wilson in this one too?
He's not.
Okay. I was like, I wasn't sure if he was like following through with this, the Warrens, you know.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Someone else is in it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening to How Do You Watch This? You can find us on Instagram at How Do You Watch This and TikTok at How Do You Watch, or email us at howdoyouwatchthis@gmail.com. If you like the show, support us by giving us a review or recommend to a friend. Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.